What's up, y'all? This is the A-flat concert scale video for horn players, sometimes called French horn players. So if you're not a horn player, get out of here. You're watching the wrong scale. All right, let's get her started. The label at the top, even though your first note is not A-flat, it is still called the A-flat concert scale. So I write this up here, A-flat concert. Then this guy down here is called circle of fourths. So we use that to do our transposing. And we go, so we find our first note of the scale. That's A-flat, it's your first note of the scale. From there, we're going to go, we always go one click in a counterclockwise direction. That's this way, the opposite direction of a clock. One click is how you transpose. And you could use that in rehearsal too if you're trying to figure out your concert pitch. So one click counterclockwise is E-flat. Your first note then is E-flat. So I'm going to draw it down here in this, these boxes here is where I'm going to do letter names. So E-flat. I've now figured out my first note. Then I'm going to go in alphabetical order, just write letter names. E, F, G. There is no H, so when I get to H, I start over with A. And then keep going in alphabetical order. And I will end with the letter with which I started. So now I have letter names. Now I got to figure out, are any of those flat or sharp? So I go back to my circle of fourths. And your first note was E-flat, so that's your scale. On the circle, this right here, C, is 0 flats and it's 0 sharps. Look at the yellow highlighter here. It says if I add flats if I go in this direction. So if that's 0 flats, this one would be 1 flat. This would be 2 flats. So E-flat, where I am, is 3 flats. The order of flats, again, look for the highlighter down here at the bottom, is right there. It's always the same order. So if there are 3 flats, it's going to go B, E, A. If there were 7 flats, it would go B, E, A, D, G, C, F. But in this case, it's just 3 flats. They are B, E, and A. So I'm going to add those to my letters down here. There's a B. That's flat now. There's an E over here at the beginning. We already put a flat, but there's also an E here at the end. So we put a flat there. And then there's also A flat right here in the middle. Those are my B, E, A. Okay, I now have letter names. So we go to the next page. On this page, we're going to draw the key signature and figure out what our starting pitch.
Announcement for all
So,
this is
first we have
the same announcement.
announcement.
If you are needing your student ID, they are in the
Make sure you get your
lower
student ID, children.
during
Okay,
lunch.
I'm drawing my
At
clef,
lunch, pick up your
and
student
I make a
ID.
little loop at the
If you
top,
haven't already.
big loop
Lower
at the bottom like that. And then a little tail at the bottom. If your treble clef sucks, that's okay. Mine does too. Then key signature. That's those 3 flats that we figured out, B, E, and A from the first page. They have to read that way from left to right, B, E, and A. So I put a B flat on the B line, E flat on the top space, A flat on the second space. They read B, E, A in order. So that's what my key signature looks like. Then we also need to figure out starting pitch. For this scale, your E flat is your starting pitch. We're going to start on this E flat here. And then that'll, of course, take you up to this E flat. Okay, so I've got key signature. I've got starting pitch. I've got letter names, which means I can go to third page and insert a fingering chart and highlight that. So I'm going to pop over. Don't use that fingering chart. I'm going to pop over to Schoology. You'll notice in your Schoology folder there is a fingering charts folder. Grab my French horn fingering chart. I'm going to screenshot that. You might know a better way to put it into Notability, but that's how I do it. And I'll hit this plus in the upper right corner. And I got to find my French horn one. There it is. I'll add that. And then I'll try to stretch it out so it's a more reasonable size. Something like that. Okay, and then I'm just take a highlighter and I look on this first page. There's my letter names right there. I'm just using these letter names and this starting pitch to find the notes on this fingering chart and highlight them. So my first note was E flat. There's an E flat right there. And my next note was F. My next note was G. Then it was A flat. Once I get to A flat, I'm using the trigger, which means these parentheses, parenthetical fingerings. My next note was B flat. Again, parenthetical fingerings. My next note was C. And then I had a D. and finally it ended with E flat. So now I have the fingerings right there. It's like having the answers to the test right in front of you. So now I'm ready to turn this assignment in, but also ready to start practicing the scale and see if I can actually play it on my instrument. So go do that.